as Thor likes to say, my name and background did not change, so let's keep those. And so content controls. I gave a content control call at last Code Days half a year ago, and the plan was that's kind of completed, ready, let's forget about it. But of course, there was feedback, and there are a few recent improvements on what happened after Code Days. So this would be an overview of what's new there. So to recap, content control is kind of a way to fill forms. Word has 3 generations of those. The first was based on ActiveX, that's now forgotten. There is something based on fields, and the newest one is content controls. This is quite frequent in documents, given that in Word this was the default in the past 16 years already. But we did not really have a matching equivalent. This is also in the specification. This is called structures, document, tags, and as in SDT. So that's what we are trying to match here. And what you can do with content controls is that you get a frame, you get to type some content in. It can have some character properties, so some rich formatting. It still has to stay inside a single paragraph. It can do nesting for you, which is like not that possible with fields, and you can have a set of properties on that. So that's a bit different from fields, which are field instructions and field result. It's just a set of properties. So one thing that's new is that you can have aliases and tags on these things. So let's say you have some form where you need to sign at the very end and you want to fill in the location and the date. Then you go to the location and let's assume that everyone is here in Cambridge. So let's default to Cambridge. But if you go to the Cambridge word, then you get a hint that this is meant to be a location. So you can adjust that if necessary. The alias is something that's presented to the user, so it's user readable, something human friendly, and tag is very similar, but that's meant to be some stable identifier, so that later you can extract data from the document if necessary. What's also new is that we used to turn this data to plain text when exported to PDF, and we thought that will be good enough, given that Word also does this. But actually we can do a little bit better. What about turning these content controls to fillable PDF forms? Given that that's also already possible with these control shapes. But that's a bit annoying. You need to manually position them and size them and so on. So what you can do is you can create a content control, then you can make it multiple lines if you just insert the line breaks, or you can even control their size if you insert top positions, and then you can get a fillable form there. Then you can have documents where the entire document is read-only by default, but then you have sections which are possible to edit, or you don't have sections at all and just the content control is something you can edit. And there was no exception for the content control, so now that's done. Also, it's possible to set custom Unicode characters for the checked and unchecked cases for these checkboxes, so you can have not just the boring checked and unchecked checkbox glyph, but something more nice, especially if you combine this with these colored emojis. Then there is some initial VBA support for this, which required some UNO manager, which can say that I want to jump to the third content control without scanning the whole document for content controls. There is a special case when you want to have a drop-down content control, but you did not define items yet. So we know, don't assume that just because you have no items, it's not a drop-down anymore. It was reported that RTL is broken, so after seeing what was the problem, the positioning needed fixing, the actual rendering. Also, when you when you interact with this content control, you need to do a bit of heat testings to see if you need to position the cursor or you clicked on the button. So after doing these, then the RTL case also works. And that's mostly it. Lots of polish happened since last code days, and hopefully now it's more pleasant way to interact with these content controls. That's it. Thanks.